Hello everyone, this beautiful Friday evening in Melbourne. I'm here with the gorgeous Viviana Gutierrez, Colombian artist now living in Melbourne, who did this beautiful watercolour you can see that I've had framed. I had specially done for my book, and I love it so much that I had it tattooed on my arm, but only just for life. So first I'm going to read a couple of poems that are in my new book, and we'll go into an explanation of where they came from and how Viviana fits into all of this. So to begin, the first one I've called School Bus. Adults often speak of children as though they are a different species, when once we too all travelled on the same bus. And what I'm speaking about here is the fact that as adults, often we speak about children as though they're like almost a different species, like we were never children ourselves. And Viviana and I were talking before about the difference between Australians and the more Latin cultures, and how she found such a difference between the two of us, and how I think there's something we can all learn as Australians and the more Western cultures from the Latin culture. What did you find when you came here from Colombia? How old were you?
I was 22 years old, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes. I did find very different culture, very serious surroundings around people, almost like a fear to express themselves, to be spontaneous, to be playful. Yes, I did find it tough at the beginning, but then I realized, well, it's actually a beautiful thing to come across art in all its different ways, painting, dance, music, because it helps you be more spontaneous, and it helps you not be afraid of expressing yourself, not being judged by other people.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, that's all.
Yeah. So and when I gave you the task of doing this hummingbird for me, and you said you had a special affinity to them. Your father knows a lot about hummingbirds. In Colombia, there's lots of different types of hummingbirds, and you describe it beautifully about what they mean to you, and what do hummingbirds actually mean to you, and your experience with them.
Yes, we do see them all the time, so many different species. I've always felt quite close to hummingbirds. I think they are these absolutely magical creatures. Going back to the Native American cultures, they are the messengers of goddess and goddesses and magical deities as well. Mm-hmm. And because when you look at them, that's what you feel. It's like you're receiving this message from another world, almost, from a different state of thinking and state of mind, state of spirituality, almost. So you look at them, it happens in a few seconds, then they disappear like the thunder. But you can't ever forget what you saw. It's not just about the physical beauty of the hummingbird, but they do carry something absolutely special that I've never perceived in any other animal. I think there's something quite special about them.
Yeah, and I think that's where I suppose I chose the hummingbird, is that, well, it came about from this little girl. She was 13, it was her bat mitzvah, a friend of mine, it's his daughter, and I called her the quirky little hummingbird, and she was like this little hummingbird. She'd zip from one place to another, she'd leave her little fairy dust, she'd leave her this spontaneous, beautiful energy. And I just had this affinity, and when I found out that Viviana was this wonderful artist, and you've got to check out her work and her website and all that's on it, and when she created this beautiful hummingbird, and when people actually see this tattoo, and if you have a look on my website, you'll actually see the digital image of Viviana's painting, that it has this ethereal quality to it, and that when she spoke about this otherworldliness of hummingbirds, it they're almost like little children. You can't actually even see them as adults. They're like these childlike little creatures that come and give you this little gift, and then they're gone again, but that gift stays with you for a long time. And this next poem that I'm going to read, it came to me at a time where I was being incredibly serious about my personal development. I was saying I had this anger and these problems, and I needed to get past them, and I thought, man, I've really got to... I wanted to change, but it was becoming too rigid. And I'll read it to you, and then you'll see why it was so special. And it was something that it came through me. It wasn't something that came from my thoughts. And it's called He Has the Answers. I wanted to know where my anger lies. So I closed my eyes and looked inside. I found a little boy hiding in the corner. Before he would answer my question, he said, "First, you have to ask me out to play." And I remember that image, it was almost like in a dream, where this little kid was sitting in the corner just saying, "Dude, stop being so serious. I'm going to answer your question, I'll tell you why you're angry and how to get rid of it, but really the essence is just be playful. Stop being so serious about it all." And as adults, when we do these personal development courses and we listen to these videos and read the books and go to the lectures, and it becomes such a serious effort. But at the end of the day, if we add a sense of childlike playfulness to it, we can be free of it, we can be much more present, and then that it's like magic happens. And that's what I found about the hummingbird. They have this magical quality. And also when I met Viviana, she has this magical quality to her, and it's a real shame because she's actually married, and David, we're all jealous, but good on you for landing this beautiful woman. And so she had this essence about her, and she, like you do tango, and what you taught me about tango is that tango is not essentially choreographed. It's not these set of steps that two people have to be in complete unison for it to, not for so much for it to work, but for it to be
tango.
There we go.
Yeah.
So I'll let Viviana explain. So what does tango mean to you, and like all of what we're speaking about, being childlike, spontaneous, and really in the moment?
I found it did take me quite a long time to realize that tango, as well as generally speaking many other dances, are not about your ego or about whether your body looks absolutely perfect or not. Yes, you do have to have a technical background. It might take quite a few years to develop, and you do have to focus on the technical development. But when you are actually on the social dancing with your dance partner, it's all about being a translator between the dance partner and the music. So you are an instrument that is being played by the music itself, and you become music. You become a fluid that is just running through the different rhythms and different kinds of music. There's many different kinds of music in tango as well, and you have to adjust to that every time you dance. You have to adjust to those different rhythms and feels as well. You can feel anger, sadness, you can feel sensual, you can feel so many different things. And when you learn to let yourself come out of this shell, almost like shield that covers all of us, which is fear, which is worrying about what other people is going to think about you, worrying about whether someone's going to touch you, and just feel the music and feel your body it's this timeless matter that is put on stage to be part of that music and part of that moment, almost magical moment. That's when dance starts to happen, actually. And you have to leave your ego behind. It's not about your ego, it's not about what other people think, it's not about the technical stuff anymore. It's more about the essence and how you feel connected to the music and to your dance partner.
And you spoke about something that Michael Jackson said.
Michael Jackson did say many modern artists make a huge mistake, and he says when they try to be magnificent dancers, they try to interpret the music through their bodies, and they try to follow the sequence of the music through their bodies. And he says that's just a manifestation of your ego through the music. You have to leave your ego behind. You have to become the music itself. So he says he becomes music when he's dancing. So it's not about a different aspect. It's about becoming part of it, completely part of it.
So the music sort of dances you.
Exactly. So music is dancing through your own self.
And so you become completely present in that moment.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the essence of basically what we're speaking about here, that you see children, how they can become completely embedded in that moment. There is no past, there is no future. And yes, as adults, we need to learn from the past, we need to plan for the future. But I find the most magical times, I know in my life and other people I've spoken to, is when you're completely 100% present, and where the intellect is left behind and you just embody that moment. And any of you that have watched the push-up challenge that I've done, and I embody these, I have these different characters, and often I never know exactly what I'm going to say or do or dance. I just turn on the music and just go. And I find that it's an energy that lives through me. And if you try that, and that's where a lot of my writing comes from. This writing, this book, I wrote over 20 years just for myself, until someone grabbed it and said, look, I think you should look at getting this published. And some of these pieces, I seriously, that came through me. I had no idea, no intellectual construct of how I was going to put this together. It just spoke to me, and sometimes I would be just doing something else and I had to grab a pen and paper and just write things down, because it was like it was going to flow past me. And so to wrap this up, that what we're speaking about and what Viviana has been really emphasizing is that when you are in the moment without judgment of self and others, magic happens. So have a great evening, and thank you, Viviana, for visiting and painting this beautiful watercolor for my book. You all have a great night. Ciao, ciao.